Welcome to the Bearded Bro Show podcast. I am one of your hosts, Dustin, and I am joined by
Trav, as always. How's it going, guys? Feels good to be back at this again for another week.
Yes. Last week, Trav had a special guest on, which really enjoyed that podcast. Like, I can honestly 100% say that I fully committed to like the hour and 54 minutes that podcast
It was a long one, man, and we got to that hour, and I thought to myself when Angel was talking at one point, because he's super passionate about movies and I love him for it, but I got to the hour and I'm thinking, there is no way. Like, it went so quick. I was thinking, there is no way this is going to be just an hour. So I was just like, whatever. And I just kept going. Because it's like, why not? You know, it's like, there's so many podcasts out there that's like, do like 5 hours, 6 hours, whatever. But, you know, hour is not necessarily the limit. It's just what me and Dustin like to do. But if the conversation can just be so amazing for that long, then why not, you know? And, I think people are enjoying it. People are discovering the Goat Movie Podcast, and their audience is discovering us, and it's just a really cool two-way street there.
It is really awesome, and I just want to say shout out to you, Angel. I love seeing your tweets. I look forward to it every time I pull up Twitter. Speaking of social media, that is what today is going to be about. But before we get into that, I told Trav, as he called, I was like, I have a little food hack, all right? I'm going to put you guys on to something. I'm about to change the way you eat ramen noodles forever. I promise you that. Okay, like, look, I know ramen noodles. People are like, oh, it's like poor people food. Listen, I don't care what you say. Ramen noodles are good. And I'm going to put you on.
They definitely are.
They're great. Beef or chicken, like, there's not a flavor of ramen that I honestly can say I dislike. I like the shrimp ramen a lot. I like the chili ramen a lot. But, just like, I think that the two big ones are going to be chicken or beef. That's what people stick to generally.
It's always been chicken for me. I don't really know. I mean, I've tried other ramen. It's just like, I don't know. It just doesn't, I don't know. It depends on like the place. Like if you go to like a really good, this is one reason I want to go to Japan is because I know that I could hit up an amazing ramen shop or so, and
you can get authentic ramen.
Yeah, and like it would be mind-blowing. I already know, like it'd be beyond anything like we can really, I mean, you can make good ramen here, but you know that they're gonna do you justice. But yeah, I've always been a lover of ramen. I grew up on it though, and like on those times when I was living with my mom and we were poor, I ate it all the time, and so I probably got kind of tired of it. But
yeah,
like what Dustin's saying with the food hack is, you just got to mix it up every now and then, like add something to it or whatever. And I've been told I make even though it's just regular, like the orange box of ramen, like I've been told I make a really good ramen, but I need to experiment it with it more and stuff and actually add a lot of stuff to it and see if I can actually heighten like what I already make.
Okay.
Which is just like normal.
Then let me put you on to this, right? Okay, so tonight, for example, actually before the podcast, while I was uploading my video, doing everything on my channel, I made myself some ramen because like I was just in the mood for it, like, and I did the chicken flavor tonight, and I can honestly say I'm willing to put money on it. I will make the best ramen you've ever had in your life. I mean, not like in the sense of what I add, but like how I cook it. Okay, so here's my thing. 2 packages, right? I mean, I eat 2 packages because, like, I can crush ramen, and I probably shouldn't eat that much, but I do anyway, and I always feel nasty afterwards. But 1 or 2 packages. I use 2. I boil my water, and I don't even let the water come to a full boil yet, but, like, almost there. And I take the bricks out, the ramen bricks, and I don't crush them up. A lot of people crush them up, make them real fine. I don't do that. I throw the whole brick in whole, both of them. And I just stir it around. And it will kind of get to a point like when the water starts to boil, if you put them in right whenever you like turn your like burner on high, like I put hot water in there to begin with, dump it in, and then as soon as like I turn on, I'm opening the packages and I get those noodles in there, because by the time the water starts to boil, your noodles are at the perfect consistency. So they're like not hard, but they're not like soggy either. It is like the perfect noodle consistency, if you can call it that. And then I put my flavor packets in, and this is where people give me shit for this, by the way. Try this one time. I'm not a broth guy. I don't care for broth unless it's like in chicken noodle soup. I hate ramen broth because I don't like my noodles soggy. So I mix the flavor packet in. A lot of people are like, oh, well, you lose flavor because you drain the water out afterwards. And I'm like, but you don't, because the flavor soaks into the noodles. So I empty the water entirely, right? After I mix the flavor packet in, put it in my bowl, take sriracha sauce or your favorite hot sauce. I prefer sriracha. I mean, I like regular hot sauce, but for this, I like sriracha sauce. Put it in my noodles, mix it around, and then take some Parmesan cheese and dump it on top. And it is the greatest thing in the entire world. Something so simple.
I don't know why I didn't think about Parmesan. That sounds amazing.
Yes.
Have you noticed too? I mean, consistency and stuff like that with it. One reason that I've been told I make good ramen is one of my tricks is, even though you can, I usually back then I only used one brick. I could see myself using more now if I did that, because I haven't made ramen in a long time. But I'm a lot fatter now, so I feel like I'd end up using two now. But back then I used one, and I remember using, like, it sounds kind of crazy and stupid, but there might be somebody out there that can tell me, like, that's actually the kind of, like, chefs and stuff. Smallest pot possible.
Yep.
Because if I have, like, too big of a pot for it, it just, like, the seasoning and all that you put in it is, like, it just waters it down more, if that makes sense. Like, the less water, the more, like, I guess, thick the actual, like, because I always, I guess, and other people don't do this too. I've seen people make ramen and they put it in the bowl and it's just, like, dry with no liquid. I eat ramen, like, with the liquid at the bottom of the bowl. Like, I love it like that. Like, there's just no fear of drying. There's no, like, the air hitting it and it dries out too fast. And there's stuff you can add to it, but I'm just talking about just making just ramen without adding anything. Or maybe some salt or something. But it's not like a soup, but there's just, like, a thin layer, I guess, of some liquid.
Just enough to keep it good.
It may sound gross to certain people, but, like, the smallest pot possible you cook that in, the more yellow that it is, like, the better it's going to be. If it looks kind of milky and kind of, like, watered down, it's not going to be as good. I've had it both ways. Like, when I was growing up and stuff, I just kind of experimented with ramen because, it was the healthier thing to eat, but also that's really a lot of the stuff that I had.
They have since Trav and I grew up, they have changed their recipe, because at one point in time, like when we were young, that stuff was, like, coated in wax to preserve it, and you were cooking it and eating it, and they since changed.
Interesting to try it now.
I think it was up till, like, what, like 3 or 4 years ago. It was recently. I want to say within, like, the last 5 years they changed that. But it's really good, and the key, guys, don't crush up your bricks. You actually get longer noodles.
Yeah, I've only just put the brick in there just like you do, so I was glad to hear when you said that, because I was like, oh, that's sort of the way I do it. Same method, just may not be the exact same.
It's so funny too, like, and I can't, there's people that can cook their ramen in the microwave, and that's how my wife eats it, and I'm like, I can't. And then I literally had a friend one time.
I don't even think I've tried it like that.
I can't, dude. I can't. I think it makes the noodles different. I don't know. I cook mine on a stove. I don't care if I dirty a pot, whatever. Sue me. Like, I wash the dishes most of the time anyway, so, like, it doesn't even matter. I'm not saying Trista doesn't do anything. Trista washes the dishes too, but, like, generally, like, if I cook, like, I'll wash what I cook with, like, it's just me. But yeah, just a little life hack for you guys. Definitely, like try it out. And I actually had a buddy one time, my friend Eric, actually, one time crushed the noodles up in the bag, like, real fine, opened the bag, took the packet out, and then dumped the seasoning packet on, like, just the hard, dry ramen noodles and ate it like that. And I was like, that is the absolute grossest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And I wanted to smack him in the face. Don't be that person. It's not good. But
so apparently today we're talking about The Social Dilemma, which is it's sort of like, it's a documentary, but it's also, like, got this short film aspect to it, which I actually kind of liked. Just kind of showing and I forgot who that kid is. I've seen him in other stuff.
Yes,
and I don't know who he is.
I can't remember his name, but I was gonna point that out to you. I'm glad you brought that up and you recognized him, because he was in a show that I watched on Netflix called Santa Clarita Diet. And his name was Eric in that show.
I've never seen that, so I don't know.
It's
I may have
super
seen him
funny.
in some movie or something, but
yeah, he's been in multiple things, but it's a documentary on Netflix, like Trav said, and it does kind of have that short film aspect, but they did it in such a way that it, like, scares you. because
Yeah.
it's true. It's so
Yeah.
like accurate into this day and age. And if you guys haven't watched it, we're gonna kind of summarize it. There's probably gonna be spoilers in here. Just saying. If you haven't watched it, pause it, go watch it. What? It's like an hour and a half long. It's not.
Yeah, it's not even that long. I was surprised with the
Yeah.
length.
And I kind of like the way they did it too, because I feel like if you were to watch a documentary, like a normal documentary on this subject, you would lose interest in it. But they did it because it grabs your attention. Like I was actually really
and
shocked.
it's all these theories that people have and stuff. Kind of like it's literally like the founders of like Twitter and all these other kind of companies basically saying, "Yeah, you're right. That is how it is. Phones are kind of listening to you and stuff like that."
Yeah.
I mean, to an extent, they kind of touch upon that, but they really mostly focused on the whole when you search things, other things pop up. I've had it happen all the time on Facebook, Amazon, and like Thomas was telling me, well, there's a setting where you can like turn that off. And I was like, well, it's just weird in general anyway. Like I'll search for a certain shirt or something, and then out of nowhere, Facebook is trying to sell me a shirt that's like pretty
It's-
much the same one.
It's targeted ads, and
It's crazy.
you
And
know
they do it all on purpose, and they should because it's money. But it's like, but there's this creepy aspect to it.
there is basically what the documentary is about. Like Trav said, was it's like people that like former employees of like Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest and what have you, basically any social media that is prevalent in this day and age. And it's like it's these people that like started it. Like they literally interviewed the dude that found the founder of the like button like on Facebook.
Yeah.
And it was like these people are like, oh, like I was put on this project, and like the things they had me do kind of like like it made people think. And it was just crazy because like they basically described it as like, look, there are people, I was here, I helped him build this computer basically to run this platform, and it's gotten to the point that like the AI, which is artificial intelligence, is beyond human capability. Like the people that built these computers can't even tell you how these computers do the things that they do because it's so far ahead of human knowledge. And that's what's absolutely terrifying. And one thing they brought up too, and I noticed this when they said it, I kind of had a moment, and I paused the documentary and I thought like, of times that this has happened where it's like you can be in the same room with like your family, right? So like for example, like Tristan and I at night getting ready to go to bed, we'll scroll through Facebook. Her and I can be friends with the same people and, like all the same stuff. And both of us have completely different Facebook feeds, even though we're right next to each other, because these computers specifically target you. And they literally said in the documentary, like these computers, they know every little thing about you and what you do. And it's eye-opening. It really is eye-opening.
Yeah, it's the documentary that it's been quoted to be like, this will make you want to delete your Facebook. Because, I literally was like, I'm watching it, and yeah, I'm trying to not, like, overthink anything and get all creeped out about anything. Because, like, all these are things I've suspected about before this documentary came out. But it's just crazy that... And take 2020. It takes 2020 to, like, put a documentary like this out. Just to further anything or any kind of conspiracies, I guess. But it's just cool because, like we said, it's literally from like the creators of certain things.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of it basically building like an avatar version, and there's, it takes it, and like the film part of it is almost humorous sometimes, especially like the part where like he promises his mom or something for like a week to not touch his phone and stuff. And there's a real deep, like, it touches on a lot of subjects. One, the whole listening to you and, like, putting ads in front of your faces. But the really deep ones were, like, giving teenagers, because teenagers today, me and Dustin grew up in a time where, like, I remember being a kid and having to use a freaking, like, coil wire phone, like a big freaking phone that's on your face and all that. And I would talk to my friends on that. I would literally talk to my friends on that. I don't know how I did that. Because it's all wireless now. And... when the power goes out, you have no phone. Like, there's no, like, and stuff like that. And so, kids today are growing up with what we have: smartphones, computers that are really high speed, and like just all this stuff we have now. Like I've seen parents, even friends of mine that are parents, they have iPads for their kids and stuff, and I'm just thinking back to like, if I had that, I'd be having a heyday on like just constant, never bored. And there's been plenty of times when I was a kid I can remember being extremely bored.
Oh yeah.
And like now, it's this very active, faster world we're in. And the dark part about it is the whole depression aspect on kids, and kids going to like psych wards and stuff, because it's just like they're filling their brains with so much stuff, and it's just not good. And basically, one really good point the documentary makes that I really love is just, this is not technically good for you.
It's really
like
not.
us scrolling through Facebook and stuff. And I've taken, and this is even before the documentary, me and Ryan have like talked on the phone for like 3 hours about this subject before, probably longer. And like how we've talked about between each other, like moves that we have made and taken to like kind of just, because I think we all, when we sit on the toilet, that's ultimate scroll time, okay? Like YouTube and stuff like that. Why not? All right? Because you're literally having to sit there, and you know what? And that actually might help me to get it all out, because I'm sitting there for a long time distracted. So I'm not like, when you have no phone when you're trying to poop, it's horrible, by the way.
It is.
But it's like, it's not technically good for you to like, we all have the issue. We got work to do. We got, me and Dustin are creators, videos to edit, whatever. And we sit there and scroll on Facebook for like 2 hours, and you're just like, where did that time even go? And a whole point the documentary makes is they're making money because you're doing this for too long. Like, you're just giving them extra cents here and there. And it's just like, the whole point of these computers and the phones and everything is to get as much attention on you as absolutely possible.
And that's exactly it. That's like, sometimes if you've been off, say you're at work, right? You work a full 8 hours, you don't really touch your phone, and you get home and you click on Facebook for the first time, and like, they always make it too. So like, the first thing you see is going to be like something you want to see, and then you just keep going, and it just puts you down this rabbit hole. And that's the whole point of like what Facebook and what Instagram do. That's why they feed you ads, and that's why they like put like certain posts from people higher than others, and nothing's like in a chronological order anymore, because it is designed to keep you going, because the longer they have your attention, the more money they're making. And I think the craziest thing for me was like the guy that like helped design Gmail. He's like the main person that they talk to in this documentary. And like, he just said it the one day. He's like, it was like after work, and he was just on the bus to go from the Google place to wherever, and he just kind of had this moment of like, what the hell, like, why is this so addicting? And he like sent out this like presentation that he worked on for days on days on days to like tell people that like, hey, like, you need to like kind of take a break from all this. Like, this could corrupt people, and it got buzzing around the office, and it made its way up the chain, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. And like, everything he worked so hard on, it just never came to fruition, like, and he quit and became like a public speaker, and he talks about how technology is bad for you. And I've noticed it too. Like, our kids have cheap tablets, that we got them, because sometimes it is okay. My kids get very antsy in long car rides. So when they have something like that,
something to play with.
right. And like, we have hot spots, and it keeps their mind off of whatever's going on.
Yeah.
But there's just times.
Yeah, it's just that
like,
there's a line to be drawn is all. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like the other day, my daughter she has both my kids have phones as well, but they're not like functional cell phones. They're just old. They can't text. They can't call. They literally only work in Wi-Fi type of thing, and they can only play games and watch videos. That's it. And my daughter would like go, like, she would wake up and it's instantly her phone's in her hand. She's watching YouTube Kids. And it's all day. Sitting at the table, eating breakfast, watching YouTube Kids. She gets up, goes to the couch, shuts off her phone, turns on the TV. She's watching Netflix. She gets up, boom, phone right to the face
technology
again.
to technology.
And that's just it. And, the one day I was like, you know what, give me your phone, give me your tablet, and I took it, and I made them. Like, I literally made them play with toys, and they didn't fight me on it, and it was just like, it's insane because like talking to her or talking to the kids in general, when they have that stuff glued to their face, it's like talking to a wall.
Yeah.
You know, like I had this instance with my son today. I was like, buddy, you need to run the vacuum. Like, that's your chore. He's 7 years old. He has chores. Like, run the vacuum, man. And he would run it for like 10 minutes. He'd stop and he would sit down.
Vacuum, man.
Yeah. And he would stop and he would just start messing around on his phone. And I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a big problem with kids today. I mean, it really, and like, yeah, you have the proof. Like, you are one of like many parents that are dealing with this kind of thing, and it's rough to watch, but it's also like, you know, but there's a human thing with us where it's like, can you blame them?
yeah,
it's like, it's so distracting. Me and Dustin are gamers. We love entertainment. We love movies. Like, it just, you know, I just like, I think my whole opinion on it is like just taking steps to you know, even though I can't really say it the way I want to say it because I'm a video editor and like stuff like that, so I'm always glued to some kind of screen and my entertainment is my screen. But I do know there's this thing where it's like technology, and especially when like COVID hit and everything, like I was inspired to go back to Planet Fitness and work out, and COVID hit, so I blame it on that. It's not like technology did that to me, but everyone was inside. I still worked at where I worked. We never closed, unfortunately. And you know, so other than work and like getting some form of exercise, it's technology. And I mean, there's like differences, there's lines to be drawn. Like, I feel like the worst absolute one is your phone. Like, I feel like that is like, that you are literally a potato on a couch. Like, that's like, there is nothing like going back and then going to my TV, turning on Adobe Premiere and editing a video. I feel like, you know, that's some form of
it's productivity.
That's some form of progress.
It's productivity.
I don't feel like all technology is bad. I feel like it can be used for good. And me and Dustin as entertainers, even obviously, I mean, this podcast, for instance, it's some sort of media. It's on all the platforms and on YouTube. So it's something else. It's something that's like, if you're listening to this podcast, even right now as I speak, like podcasts actually have a danger of like, you're probably on your phone.
Yep.
You right there, you're on your phone, right? So, you know, I understand that because we don't have like a video podcast, but it's at least something else. It's something else other than sitting even in silence, because I've found myself doing that. I'm not listening to music. I'm not doing anything. I'm literally sitting in silence or on your bed or whatever. I know there's a lot of girls have this too. I've noticed women are really bad about like laying in bed for hours on their phone and they don't go to freaking sleep yet. They're just like, oh, I should have been asleep like 5 hours ago, but my phone is a thing. And it depends on the girl, you know, if they're kind of crazy and wild, flirty and all that. And it's like that, you know, that's a danger in itself.
Mm-hmm.
But just going to the basis of it, it's just not, there's so much I feel like I can say, I just don't know the words for it. It's just not good for you. And even before this documentary came out, I've realized that over the years. Like, I just, like, we will be 100% fine without our phone for like an hour, but sometimes it feels like that guy that said it in the documentary said it so right. Like, the kid has his phone on his desk at school or whatever, and he's like, there's something there for you. You just don't know what it is, but that's the excitement. That's the excitement factor. You don't know if you got a message. Your phone, like, everyone has this. Your phone barely, and I mean barely, lights up, and you have to check it. So I have taken steps with me where it's like, I'll respond to messages, yada yada, but like, if I am really doing something else, or I'm out with family, or like I'm out with Ashley, I try to like just be aware of like, don't get sucked into something that you can literally do at home. That's why I hate it. I absolutely hate it when people have their phone out in a movie theater. Why did you even come see this movie? Like, why? Like, there's so much more to this movie that you could be experiencing than whatever you're freaking scrolling through, like this mindless, just like constant garbage, like, and a lot of politics and negativity and stuff being spread. And even down to what the documentary talked about, there are like, quote unquote, evil people that use Facebook, and like,
Yeah,
and so that part was crazy.
that and like the
So,
whole fake
it's
news
insane.
thing too, is like that's how fake
Yeah,
news
or
gets
fake
spread.
news is like real news nowadays.
Yeah, and they talk about in the documentary how people that say you're like super into politics, right? And you get some article about a politician you don't like, but it's fake, like it's gonna sway you and make you believe things, and that's like these riots, fake. You know what I mean? I'm not saying like what people are fighting for like is fake news, but a lot of it's just taken completely out of context, and people just lose their minds over it. And I know people that are addicted to their phone, like my stepdad being one of these people. I'm just gonna say it. He's bad, and my mom gets so fucking mad because it's like he loves watching people live stream on Facebook gaming. And at work, he has a really easy job. A lot of time, he just sits in a vehicle and like checks water meters and stuff. But like he constantly has like something pulled up on his phone. He doesn't watch it and drive. Obviously, it's not that bad. But like it's constant. He comes home, and he can literally he has two TVs in the living room. He has a TV he plays his PlayStation on, and a TV he watches TV on. So he will have a TV with like a sports thing on. He will have his PlayStation on playing with his headset on, and his phone watching somebody playing a game all at the same time.
Yeah, that's too many screens for me, but I know a lot of people that can do that.
And it's constant,
Very
and
ADD.
and fortunately for me, and I can't say I'm like this all the time because we all have days where we're on our phone more than we should be.
Oh yeah, and that's the point of the problem. Is the problem exists? It's there for
Yeah.
pretty much anybody.
There are people that are on their phones 24/7, constantly, like nonstop. Sunday was one of those days for me. We went to like a corn maze and everything, and on the ride there and on the ride back, and I'm on Facebook and I'm scrolling through these Facebook groups I'm in because like it's kind of my fault. I'm gonna go to disc golf real quick here. I'm in some Facebook groups where like people like buy, sell, and trade discs, and you can get stuff for really good prices. So I like put my feelers out in here, and I was like, I'm looking for these specific discs, and I had people commenting, I had people messaging me, so like it was because I was trying to buy stuff from these people, and I was successful in that. But I can proudly say also though, touching on that, I've never bought anything from a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad ever. It's always been like stuff I've done research on. Never from like I'm like scrolling through it. I'm like, oh, that T-shirt's cool. I'm gonna buy it. Never have I done that, and I don't ever plan on
Yeah,
it.
it can be tricky.
Yeah, because you don't know if you're gonna get that stuff. But I have bought stuff from like other users on Facebook in these groups. Okay. Sorry, my daughter came in. She's got to go to the bathroom. You can go. You can go, little girl. You don't have to tell me. But I have purchased stuff from other users on Facebook. That's a lot different than buying from like a company you've never heard of. But yeah, like Sunday was just one of those days. But when we got to the corn maze, I really wasn't on my phone. I took a couple pictures. I took a picture of some buildings for Trista because she wanted them for The Sims. And I took a couple pictures of her and I. And that was it. But generally, like, if I'm doing something, like, especially when I'm out to dinner with, like, Trista and my family or Trista and the kids, whatever it may be, I don't get on my phone unless I check, like, unless I respond to, like, a message real quick or something. But it's not like I'm, like, while I'm waiting for my food, I'm scrolling. I talk. Like, I talk to people. I just enjoy that moment. And I used to not be like that. When I was living in Florida, I mean, I was constantly on my phone because I was miserable. Like, I was, it was like the one thing that, like, I found comfort in, I guess. I was in a bad relationship, and that was, like, my go-to was just, like, it kind of just took me out of that depressed state, I guess. But it didn't help at all.
When you're happy inside your own environment, it's different. It makes you want to put your phone away more often.
And, Tristan and I had a day the other day, too. Like, we went to go play disc golf. I took my whole camera setup. I was going to film a video for the Disc Central channel, and Trista just wasn't feeling confident in herself and her ability to play the game. And, I put my camera, I was like, look, we don't have to film. Why don't we just play for fun? And she's like, let me just go back home. Let me get a drink. Let me just try to clear my head a little bit. We live right across the street from a course. We literally walked across the street back to our house. And fun fact, if you watch the Disc Central channel, you can actually see my house. It's in the videos sometimes. But I'll never tell you which one it is. But yeah, we went back. And she was just really she had people messaging her and she was just frustrated and she couldn't focus. And she's like, I want to go back. She's like, but I'm going to leave my phone here. And I was like, okay, that's fine. She's like, will you leave your phone here too? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And we set our phones down and we went and just played for an hour and just had fun. And it was just so nice. And when her and I go for walks, and generally when I play disc golf in general, I'm not on my phone unless I'm doing the scorecard thing through this disc app. It's called UDisc, where you have to keep track of your score. I'll play the hole, and as I'm walking to the next one, I hurry up, put my score in it, and then my phone goes back in my bag, and that's it. But other than that, I'm really not on my phone too much. Other than if I have some downtime or whatever, I'll watch a couple YouTube videos. I watch Trav's reviews, and there's a video that I've watched 3 or 4 times now that absolutely angers me to my fucking core, and Trav knows what video that is, and it's by somebody I don't like, and I want to make a video so bad
I was like, wait a second, wait, and then I was like, oh, it took me a minute, but yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah, it's just I just can't stop watching it, and just I get so mad.
Anger for a good reason, though. It's not oh, I'm so addicted to my phone, I'm letting stuff get to me. This is actually in a way affects us on other friends level. Let's leave it at that. Yes. And just emotional level anyway, on some people turn out to suck, and it sucks that that's true, because you want to like people. I want to like people, but it's anyway.
Yeah. But it's very tough. But yeah, just watch this documentary, because it really will kind of change your perspective on everything.
It might actually be the first thing that pops up. If you haven't opened your Netflix in a while, which, I mean, I doubt, but if you haven't, it was the first trailer, they usually show that little trailer or whatever. It may not be that anymore, but just check it out. I'm pretty sure, I think it's technically an original, right?
It is.
They made it for Netflix, yeah. And that's great, because Netflix is this amazing platform now where we get all this stuff that you can't really get anywhere else, and it's right there on your TV. And so, hey, look, not all technology is bad.
No.
Me and Dustin would never have met if there wasn't any of this.
No. And
let's put it into that perspective. This podcast wouldn't exist if computers, YouTube, and all that never existed, and we still basically lived like we did as kids. We probably would have never met, because we've always been in separate states. So it's It can be a good thing. It's good for communicating with others. I really have been getting into the habit of logging on. I don't do it that often, but I need to do it more. Going specifically on Facebook app, the Facebook app where you scroll through and you just look stupid. You go to the logout screen and just keep it on sign in. If I really want on, I have to sign in. I need to do this more often. And I just use it for Messenger, dude. I think Messenger is amazing because I can communicate with people friends. I talk to Lucas on there. I talk to you on there most of the time. And even Ryan. It's me and Ryan's actual primary way to talk when we do have each other's numbers.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about Messenger that's just different. But I think I've always preferred actual messages, because me and Ashley just talk through our phones, on messages. And Messenger is this beautiful thing where you can talk to your other friends and stuff like that. There is also that category where that can be addicting and that can be ridiculous. And I know so many people, dude, that are just constantly on it. And I'm not going to say I'm not bad about it, but I definitely know, and not trying to sound cocky, but there's been so many days where I've thought to myself, I'm not as bad as that other person about it, because I can set my phone down and be fine with it, dude. I don't, most of the time, I don't even care what's going on there. I have stuff I gotta do. But there are moments to, I will pull it out at a restaurant sometimes. Ashley's on her phone a lot, so it's kind of that thing where if she gets on her phone and we're at a restaurant and there's not a lot of communication, not saying that's a bad thing. Sometimes it's fine to just sit in silence, like people that are couples, y'all should know that. It's okay sometimes to not have anything to talk about, by the way.
Yeah. And at night, like,
And
that's how
pulling
it is
out your
for
phones
Tristan
and just kind of just enjoying each other's company. And if that means we're on our phones, so be it. But, I've even gotten into this habit because I make my thumbnails on my phone now. This is a really good. If you guys create videos, I make my thumbnails when I'm in town and stuff because it's progress of like I don't have to do it when I get home. I can have it ready for the video because I always put my thumbnails in my actual video, so it's kind of like crucial. And so I'll make my thumbnails, and like I always try to be like make some sort of progress if I'm gonna be on my phone, and other times I'm not. But I try to. There's just that percentage. Like, it's better to have some percentage of progress and trying to move towards bettering yourself on your phone and stuff like that than it is to just, like, I'm going to, like, read all this political and, like, just, like, mindlessly, it's just not good for you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There was a point in time, before I get into this, to give you guys an example of, like, how good some, like, being on the internet can be, I guess, with like, and the availability of Netflix and Hulu and things like that. The other night, Tristan and I and the kids, we just had a night where we like baked cookies. The kids helped us. We did it as a family. We baked cookies and made a couple batches. And as the cookies are going, like we all sat on the couch together, and we watched Stranger Things. And it was just like such a nice time because collectively, like as a family, we just chilled on the couch together and did something that we enjoyed. We ate cookies, we watched a good TV show, and that was that. But there was a point in time where I literally didn't have a Facebook account for like 2 years. I just completely deactivated it, deleted it, Messenger, everything, and I'm sure Trav remembers that. I
remember that.
Yeah, and what had caused it was I, was seeing this person. We dated, things didn't work out. And, on Facebook, my profile said that, like, we weren't in a relationship anymore. What fucking annoys me more than anything with Facebook specifically, because this is where this happens, is, like, something happens like that, and people that you don't talk to, people that, like, literally, you don't give two shits about, start messaging you like, oh my god, I'm so sorry that that didn't work out, I'm here for you if you ever need to talk. And it's like, you literally didn't care at any other point in my life, but now like you're trying to like make me talk about something that I don't want to talk about because obviously like I'm upset about it, like just let me get over it on my own. But it's just people constantly messaging me, and then I was just getting tagged in dumb shit, and then like if it wasn't that, it was just people fighting and just everything. And eventually the one day I was like, fuck this. And I deactivated my Facebook for literally 2 years, completely. Messenger, nothing. And I can honestly say those 2 years were like the best years ever for me, because that's where I like kind of got out of the whole like I stopped drinking as much. I like was just happy because like I was actually going out, I was doing things, like I bought my first car like myself, and that whole thing, like it was just a time for me where everything changed. And eventually I got Facebook back, and still to this day, like I don't use Facebook a whole lot, and Trav can vouch for me on this. I don't hardly ever post statuses. I can't even remember, I'm about to look, the last time I actually posted a status.
I don't either. I can't stand it anymore because it's always like, oh, likes and comments, and that people don't really talk to you daily. So what's
right? And I get,
what I mean?
I get tagged and stuff a lot of the time. But the last actual, I don't even know. Like I'm trying to scroll back. It's literally me being tagged on like pictures of my kids and like memories from like when I bought my car and like stuff my daughter does when she's at my mom's house, or things my friends tag me in. But like I can confidently say it's probably been like a good like 3 or 4 months since I last posted a status. The only thing that I honestly post on there is like pictures of Trista and pictures of the kids and stuff like that because my family likes to see that and her family likes to see that. And that's it. Instagram,
Yeah, you're spreading positivity, nothing else, you know.
right? Like I'm not on there sharing articles unless it's like an article of something I really like doing with like movies or like video games or something
Nothing
like
like
that. I'll
sharing
share
a good meme there on there too. I always
Yeah.
do that. I'm just like, oh, this is funny.
Yeah, but I don't post statuses and like Instagram.
Yeah, I stopped doing that a long time ago.
I have a couple Instagram accounts. I have one for like my disc golf thing where I post pictures of discs and like clips and stuff of me throwing, and that's doing really well just because that community is amazing. And that's like the thing I post on the most, but that's a community of people that enjoy disc golf. And like when people see that, like, oh, like, videos of my kids playing disc golf, or pictures of the discs that Trista gets or I get, people like that. Like that brings joy to people. My other Instagram, it's literally full of pictures of Trista and my kids, and I hardly ever post on there, maybe once every few months. But my most used social media for me personally is Twitter, and that's only because of this, like, and I hardly post on Twitter. I posted on there today, like, hey, like I'm going to be uploading a video, recording a video, whatever, and that's it. And after this podcast, I'll like tweet a link to the video and be like, hey, my YouTube video's up, and that's it.
Yeah.
But I can say like I've kind of broke that being on social media so much thing. But again, we all have days where sometimes like you just can't stay off your phone.
Yeah, and sometimes, there's a lot that goes into it. Sad days, yada yada. Anything, I'm for anything that's gonna make somebody happier, even for a moment. But it's tricky. There's a huge gray area there where it's like there's a conversation to be had about, yeah, but how much are you gonna lean on that? And it's because we're. And especially this podcast, we're all about mentioning the betterment of mental health and stuff like that, and how much it affects and yada yada. And I just 100%, like if you're on your phone 100% of your life, you are not gonna be as happy as you could be.
No.
Even though sometimes that entertainment seems entertaining, it's a lot to think about. And I get passionate about films and like food and stuff like that, and I go on and like watch Ian's video or whatever, and just like there's a conversation to be had and like stuff to talk about with other people. But I try to treat it as, like Dustin said about the disc golf thing, is like a community type thing. I try to involve myself, but not in the way of like, oh, I'm just going to talk to a bunch of my like friends that are, I'm not saying fake friends, but just friends that they just enjoyed that when they added me, I hit accept. That's what it was.
Yep.
Like, I accepted the friend request. I'm now in their category of friends, and I think people really, we're living in this world where people that are on your Facebook friends list means, okay, this is my friends. Like, these are my actual, like, and it's like, that's not the case, because I have people at work that I communicate with and really enjoy talking to and consider friends, but they're not necessarily added on Facebook at all.
Yeah, that's how it is for me, too.
It's nothing about that. It's just because I didn't think of it that way. I didn't think of it as, oh, I got to get that mental, technological approval in my brain. And people have this, and I understand because I've had it before, where you have to have that like approval in your head that they're cool with you and you're cool with them by having them on your Facebook friends list. We've all had that thought at least once, especially when we started Facebook. And it's not a good way to look at things. Is it nice to have people on your Facebook friends list? Yes. Is it nice to talk to people on Messenger? Heck yes. Like, I even have my boss on Messenger, and one reason that he hit me up with that is because, like, hey, if you ever have a question or anything, like when I started, add me on Facebook, and so we added each other right then and there, and I haven't felt uncomfortable since, because he's just so cool, and like because back then it was kind of this your boss seeing what you're doing on Facebook is kind of, but then I realized it don't really matter, like, and if you have something to hide, you shouldn't be doing it anyway.
I'm friends with my boss on Facebook, but she's mean. But I don't ever post anything again, so like it's literally just pictures of my family.
Yeah, I just, probably even after this podcast, since I got so inspired with this conversation, I'm probably literally going on the app and doing the log out thing. Like I said, I'm not going to necessarily just get rid of it, but I'm at least glad that we live in a world where Messenger and Facebook app are like separated.
Yeah.
So you can technically delete your Facebook app and keep Messenger if you wanted to. And one day I might do that.
It will tell
one
you,
day
too.
I might actually get inspired enough to do that, because
can,
all you want to use Facebook for is communicating with other people.
Yeah, you can tell. It will tell you, like, if you deactivate your Facebook, it will tell you that you can keep Messenger installed to still talk with people.
Right. And I'm an admin in a Godzilla group that is growing and growing and growing. So that's one of the only other reasons is like, and Ryan's really big into that too. He's really big into funny groups, and I don't know if anybody's heard of that ant colony group. It's really funny. I don't know, something about it. It's like a whole big meme of like everyone pretends to be ants. It is like we're on another level of memes with Facebook. So in that way, if I can get a good laugh out of Facebook and stuff, yes, like I really just stay in the groups or stay on Messenger talking to people. Like, groups are fun. It's, fandom and stuff like that. Like, I'm in a couple Batman groups and just different stuff like that. That's fun.
Yeah, I'm in stuff like that as well. And
but as long as I'm not filling my whole day with that and getting nothing done outside of it, like, I know people, and I want to mention somebody, but I'm not going to out of respect for her, but I know somebody that is literally like, I don't even know if she uses Facebook on her phone or not, but I used to live this way, where she literally uses Facebook on her computer all the time. That means you're literally sitting there and going back and doing that, and she claims that she's, like, depressed and stuff, and it got worse over the years and stuff, and I just want to tell her, like, it's because of that. Like, I mean, I'm not saying it's because of that, but you're only adding to it by not going out and trying to experience your life. Like, I don't know if she has a job or not, but I don't know. With how much she's on Facebook, I don't know. But, and I worry for friends like that because I care about everybody, and I worry for friends that just fill their lives with, like, their phone. I'm just like, bro, like, there's more to life than this. Like, did me and Thomas take a walk last night? Yes, and play Pokemon Go. Like, so we technically exercised, but we also played that because there's Pokestops on the way. Yes, but we still enjoyed the weather. It's getting cooler out. It feels amazing. And so there was a balance. I could have easily been like, let's just walk without phones. But he's pretty addicted to his phone, too. He's one of my best friends that is like, we're watching a movie, and it's like, Thomas, like, you're great. All right, but that flashing light, I can't do it. I can't do it, man. I can't deal with the flashing light mode.
Oh, I hate people that do that. Like, well, my phone has to flash, so I know I get a notification.
And like, in my opinion, I'm always like, and honestly, if he heard this, like, he would just laugh about this, and we would joke, because that's the type of friendship me and him have, is like, we just pick on each other and stuff, and because he's very, like, he notices everything, and it gets annoying, and then we just, like, I don't know, like a joking, I could jokingly, I don't know how to say it, like a joke argument, I guess. But, like, it's like, in my opinion, when you're hanging out with friends, I don't want to hear your phone go off. Like, I don't, like, beep, 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 beep. I'm just like, literally, I have never thought to myself, when I'm hanging out with friends, I should turn my phone on loud. Like, I always have it on, like, vibrate or something.
My phone's never on loud.
That should tell you guys how much I don't care sometimes about where my phone is or whatever. It's because I always just come back to it and find stuff. I don't have to know right the second that I get messaged. And that's the difference between me and him. And there's nothing, like, necessarily wrong with the way he's doing it. It's just, like, he's very phone active, and it's just not my thing. I just can't get into that kind of, like, treating it.
Yeah. And it pisses me off,
flashing light mode does not help at all. I don't know how people that have it enjoy it. When it's on their lap, how are you not, like, blinded, like you got hit by a freaking flashbang in COD? Like, I can't do it.
No, and Trav will tell you, and I can vouch for Trav on this as well as he can vouch for me. Like, when we do message each other on Messenger about, like, scheduling this podcast thing, there's times where neither one of us respond for an hour, 2 hours, sometimes even more before we get back to each other. Like, it happened tonight.
Yeah, because if it's urgent enough, we know to text each other. But if it's just a scheduling thing. Like, obviously, I wasn't gonna ghost him all today on like recording because it's like you make like a mental note, you know, like get back to Dustin when I can, you know, kind of
Yeah,
situation.
like Trev messaged me 2 days ago. He's like, "Hey, look, you down to talk about this on Tuesday?" And I was like, "Yes." And then we didn't talk for a day or so. And then he messaged me and he was like,
That's how it works.
"Yeah, that's just it." You know, it's just like if it is something of importance and it needs to be discussed right away, I would just text him. Be like, "Hey, what's good?" You know, but like,
Here's the thing, and I'll say this real quick since we're getting close to the hour. I think that some people think this one thing that really, and it really bothers me. Like, there are people out there. Have you ever noticed this too? When you maybe even you met new people, or maybe before before you had somebody, and like I did this before I had Ashley. Like, I would meet girls and stuff on like a dating site or whatever, and like they're like I can tell when they're kind of weird because I noticed that some girls, and this is guys too. Like, this is just friends or women if you're trying to date or not. Like, there's people out there that like never end the conversation. Like, they always have something left for you to read, and I'm just like, that's the thing about that. That's a whole other podcast, and maybe one day we'll have to talk about this because it's a big subject. Like texting is just awful in a lot of ways. Things can come across the wrong way. Things can just like, whenever you hear someone's voice, it's a lot different, and just like I feel more alive talking to them. I feel more like, it just makes more sense. And this is why I leave people on red sometimes, because sometimes I just don't have something further to add to the conversation. I'm not gonna, that's the thing about me, is I'm not gonna be fake and try to pretend and try to pull something out of my rear end like right then. I might come back to it later and add more thought to it, but you don't always, like, someone's having a bad day or whatever, and they may look at it as like you ghosted what they said. There's a lot of distractions in this life too, and there's your own life to worry about as well, and your job and everything like that. And like, I think people are literally out there that get offended, that are like, you ghosted me, and it's like, no, I didn't ghost you. I just didn't know what else to add.
I know people like that, and I've had people be like,
it's like, but someone's got to eventually stop the conversation. Like, do they literally expect for like 5 days, 7 days straight for the conversation to keep going? Like, it's literally like you would go insane.
This is what makes me mad about like these types of people too, is like, I've had people that would like say stuff to me and like, I don't know what to say, or then I won't respond, and they're like, "Oh, so you're fucking ignoring me?" And I'm like, you literally, your last message to me said yeah or okay. What the fuck do you expect me to say back to that?
Exactly. I feel like the okays and the yeahs.
Like, that's it. That's
like,
the end
you
of the
ended
conversation.
the conversation yourself.
Exactly. And Trista has a friend like that. We love her dearly. But her and Trista will be talking, and her friend will be like, yeah, or okay. And Trista just says, okay. And then her friend will like be like, well, are you mad at me? What's wrong? Why are you being like this? And Trista's
God.
like,
reading way too much into
Trista's
it,
like,
bro.
what do you want me to say? What do you want me to fucking say?
We're guys, so we really don't care about a lot of things.
Listen, it's the hard truth. Before we get into our recommendations, one thing I want to talk about today, one thing that pisses me off is I noticed this at the corn maze, and I see this more than none, more than not, I guess, is the right terminology. It didn't sound right. Whatever, you know what I mean. But they had like a hay maze set up, and it used to be bigger, and kids, like, there was like little hay tunnels, and kids would crawl through it, and adults could crawl through it, and then, it would be fun. And I literally saw like two very different types of parents in one place. There was a dad who was crawling through, like, they only had one little tunnel, and parents were like, oh, wait till this kid goes through and then you go. Like, people were being respectful about distancing. I saw this dad, he was running, he was climbing the hay bales, he was crawling through the thing, chasing the sun around, having a good time, and the mom was taking pictures and videos, and just like, then she would put her phone down and just watch them, and just, you could just see the love in her eyes. And then there's parents that I saw literally on the other side of this hay maze, or little haystack pyramid thing, where they had younger kids, and both of them are just on their phones, texting constantly,
And it's
not
probably
even
because
watching their
they're
kids.
they're the hateful parents that need a break or whatever, and it's like ridiculous. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a nice break that they're going on playing for like 5 minutes. I have peace now. Like, oh, stop, shut up. It's ridiculous.
No, and like Trista took some pictures of me and stuff when we were there, but other than that, like we weren't really on our phones. We went through the hay maze or the corn maze, and it was long, and we had fun, and we just talked to like it was just me, Trista, her friend, and my buddy Eric. Well, Eric and his girlfriend, and then me and Trista. And we just talked the whole time and made jokes, and we just had fun. And then of course there's people walking through on their phones. I mean, it's the sad reality. And as much as I hate to say it, we cannot function in today's day and age without technology. It is just a part of everyday life now, and it's sad because some people are just so fucking mindless when they're on their phones. When I see people walking in public and they're looking at their phone and they're not paying attention to where they're walking, I call it the smartphone shuffle.
Yeah,
But it's sad.
for sure.
It's sad.
What's your recommendation, sir?
My recommendation is to kind of just play off what I just said. Take an hour a day, okay? Start, even if you have to start small, start with like half hour a day where you just set your phone down and you just go do something.
Yeah, and turn it off, by the way. Don't just like, oh, it lit up. I gotta turn it off so it doesn't light up.
Put it
You
in
know
like
what I
a
mean?
different
Like,
room.
it's-
If you have it upstairs,
Yeah.
put it upstairs, close your door, go downstairs, and go do something. Don't sit down and watch TV or anything like that. Do something physical. Whether it be something like, going through a refrigerator, cleaning out your refrigerator, or sweeping the floor. Do something to just take yourself away. Start with a half hour, try to work your way up. I really try to give myself at least an hour a day where I'm not on my phone, period. And sometimes I do really well with it, and sometimes I forget that I'm doing that and I'm on my phone. But at least try, just...
Yeah, because nowadays it's literally, like you said, this mindless thing where we don't even think about what we're doing. We don't even think about, I'm getting on my phone right now. It's like a natural, like it's like a part of us. It's a part of our human body or something. It's like really, really weird. And
It is.
my recommendation is just kind of, sort of in a way, seconding what Dustin's saying. But I guess in my own words is, well, not really, basically the same thing. Yeah, get out there and get exercise. And I'm going to change it into this. Like, anytime you find yourself on your phone, like, use that. Be mindful. Also, mind your surroundings, for the love of God. People have died playing Pokemon Go. Like, it's nuts. Like, it's nuts, like, that any of this could actually happen. So just, like, if you find yourself, especially if you are not scrolling through or emailing somebody, making some form of progress, because there are so much good to technology. There is so much good for it.
There is.
But if you find yourself using it for bad and for just bad ways, I'll call it sinful ways as well, just take yourself and go do something. Basically what Dustin said, like, just go do something, go take a walk, go to the gym, like, do something, even if it means literally go step outside, like, and just breathe in the air, because we need it. Like, you need normal air. Like, I know, like, we've been through this pandemic, we're starting to kind of get through this, but we will come out on the other side stronger.
Yes.
You have to just take steps. Like, if you find yourself being dug into this hole, like, it's up to you. Like, it really is. Like, anything that you do, like depression wise or anything like that, like, you can change the way you think about it today. But like Dustin said, taking an hour here and there, like, it will get better. Like, you'll find yourself, and you're gonna slip, and you're gonna go on this binge of, like, okay, I haven't been on my phone for like an hour a day for 7 days, and then on that 8th day, I guarantee you'll go back to doing it all day, because once you kind of go on like any kind of diet or anything like that, you kind of just slip for a day because you kind of missed it. You missed just having the freedom. You give in to, like, screw it, I'll just do what I want. Like, but if you keep that mentality, it's better for you. And please, 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 highest recommendation is use technology for good. Just use it. for communication and, you know, become a YouTuber. Become a YouTuber.
Do
like
it.
all these thoughts and stuff you have, like just talk to a camera. It's fun.
Do it. And kind of a double recommendation here, as Trav was talking, this kind of crossed my mind. Don't use an excuse either to be the person that's on your phone all the time. You know, I ask people, it's like, well, why do you constantly have to have your phone? And people's response are, well, what if something happens and I need to know? You know, what if, what if my family needs to tell me something? And I'm like, listen, you don't need to have your phone constantly, for one. Because I promise you, whatever Becky tagged you in on Facebook is not fucking important at all. And two, if it was a true emergency, your family is going to contact you.
By the way.
Yeah, they're going to contact you one way or another. They're not going to message you on Facebook. You know, your mom's not going to message you on Facebook and say, hey, your Aunt Brenda just passed away. No, they're going to call you. They're not going to text you. You're going to get a call. If you are at work and something happens, your family is, people are smart. They will notify your work. Everything will be fine. Just don't ever make the excuse of, well, what if something bad happens? I need to have my phone. No, you don't, because then that's just you making yourself believe that like you constantly have to use your phone. And we're not saying that using your phone is a bad thing. Again, it's a part of everyday technology. Trav and I use it every single day to do what we do. Like for this podcast right now, Trav and I are talking on our cell phones and recording our voices through a program on our computer. It's a part of everyday technology. You literally cannot, go a day without. I mean, you can go a day without your phone, but you know what I mean. Like it is such a part of today's world that, it's it. It's just how it is. This is mankind at its finest.
And be mindful of others. Do not get on your phone and turn on that bright freaking light in a movie theater. Like, do not do that. If you need to go use your phone that bad, leave the freaking theater. Like, you are missing the movie anyway by being on the phone. Like, no, I can multitask. I can look at this and, like, I've seen people excuses like, there's an emergency, take it outside, because you're being selfish. That's what that is. Like, it's not even about, like, oh, you're on your phone and you're ignoring this movie. It's actually more about your surroundings and other people. And, like, movie theaters literally on purpose make it a dark room so that the screen is the main focus. And if your phone is on, it's like this freaking just flare of a light. But anyway, that's it, guys. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. All the platforms are listed down below. And if you are enjoying it on YouTube, give us a like. Let us know in the comments what you think about us. If you hate us, then comment anyway. We want to know. Or if you're one of those like, I got to be on my phone 24 hours. You guys suck. Then dislike it. Any kind of activity is welcomed at the Bearded Bro Show podcast. Dustin, anything you want to say before we head out?
I do. If you are somebody that dislikes our podcast, I just want to let you know that you're fucking stupid, and that just gives us a view, baby. That dislike means nothing.
He had to add it.
Yeah.
Lucas, I'm just gonna start asking you to bleep him, sir. Just bleep him because it'd be funny as crap. No, I don't want to make Lucas do that much work.
Yeah. We love you, Lucas.
Yeah, we love you for putting out these episodes. Anyway, guys, you guys will be talking to us next time.
Bye-bye.